Lancashire and Warwickshire matched each other blow for blow on the opening day of the LV County Championship match at the Emirates Old Trafford as Peter Moores began his farewells as the home side's coach by watching England hopeful Chris Warwicks take 5 wickets. Glenn Chappell, in his first game of the campaign, won the toss and decided to bat, but then saw some early movement for the Warwickshire attack as Paul Horton and Lewis Rees struggled to always find the middle of their bats on the ball. Ian Bell may not have been overly concerned that he had lost the toss. It appeared only a matter of time before one of Keith Barker or Chris Wright would break through, and Barker did it in the game's 9th over as Rees nicked behind on 10. Wokes also caused Horton some moments of concern, the batsman a little fortunate that this ball didn't ricochet into his stumps. Batting certainly wasn't easy, but things did start to calm down as the morning wore on and the shine began to disappear from the ball. Andrea Agathangalou just started to find his feet, which allowed Lancashire to get some runs on the board, increasing the tempo of their innings as they did so. Horton is taking on a fair amount of responsibility at the top of the order, and he worked really hard for his runs, defending manfully and waiting for any hittable balls such as this one from Oliver Hannon-Dolby, which brought up the 50-run partnership. Warwickshire were still creating chances though. Hannon-Dolby found the inside edge of Agathangalou's bat, only for Tim Ambrose to spill the chance behind. But Ambrose made amends on the stroke of lunch as Agathangalou, who'd batted really well for his 48, wafted at a ball from Wokes and nicked off. He would not have been happy with the shot. Wokes continued his over after the lunch break and produced a beauty to have Ashwell Prince taken behind second ball to leave the home side on 85 for 3. A lovely square cut got Luke Proctor off the mark, and before too long Lancashire had 3 figures on the board with the left-handed all-rounder looking in good touch. He has a style of his own and it was one which was working well for him early on in his innings. Horton had done the hard work, battling through the first session for 26 runs, and he was now able to advance with some shots which showed a little more aggressive intent. This was just becoming an impressive knock from the opener, who had had his moments and was now making the most of them. Unusually perhaps, there was some turn early on for Jitan Patel, who would have been disappointed that Ambrose missed what was a difficult chance to stump Proctor before he'd done too much damage. Warwickshire were profligate in the field in the defeat to Sussex last week, and they were being made to pay again, although Horton had not offered a chance himself in his half-century, which was made off a patient 133 deliveries, from which he'd struck just the 4 boundaries. Watchful as he had to be for the most part, Horton had done his job well and was by now batting his side into a decent position and making the most of his captain's decision to bat first in conditions Chappell would have been handy in with the ball, no doubt. Batting last may have been the thing he wanted to avoid, and he'll have been delighted that Horton and Proctor were now just about putting their side on top as they added 83 runs for the 4th wicket in 27 overs together. By the time they were parted, Lancashire had 168 runs on the board. But they didn't make the most of that position once Proctor, on 37, whipped a leg side delivery from Hannon-Dolby straight to a well-placed Atiq Javid. So that brought in Josh Butler for his Lancashire debut, and he was off and running with a flicked 4. It is of course a big season for the former Somerset wicketkeeper, who's made it clear that a place in the Test team is high up in his aspirations. The selection of Moores as head coach for England will have pleased him, no doubt. Horton's concerns right now were all about Lancashire and getting himself towards 3 figures. This neat shot took him into the 80s. But that's where his innings was ended by Barker, who got the ball to deviate just enough in the air to win an LBW decision that the batsman didn't seem too impressed with. Horton had to go for 83, made in 4¼ hours. Bell, the acting Warwickshire captain, had plans for Butler, and the batsman nearly obliged off Patel. The spinner did have more luck against Tom Smith, who on 4 was well taken by Ambrose behind. Barker then trapped Wayne White in front for a single, and Lancashire had slipped from 168 for 3 to a rather more precarious 201 for 7. It was maybe just one of those days when a batsman never felt completely in. Some at least got starts, such as Butler and Chappell, who put bat to ball to good effect as Lancashire tried to get themselves beyond 250 for a second batting bonus point. That looked certain to happen as Butler and Chappell took the total to 242 with a stand of 41. But the last 3 wickets then fell in the space of 15 balls. On 37, Butler's debut Lancashire innings came to an end when he chased a wide one from Warwicks and edged behind. Chappell then had a rather flat-footed drive at Warwicks and gave Ambrose his 6th catch of the day. The Lancashire skipper was out for 29. Warwicks then grabbed his 5th wicket. 2 balls later, James Anderson, the last man to fall, with an edge to Will Porterfield. Warwicks had taken 5 for 63 in 16 overs, and Lancashire had been dismissed for 247 after 75. It was the 14th 5-wicket haul of Warwicks' career. So that gave Warwickshire 19 overs to bat through before stumps were drawn, and they were overs which were mostly enjoyed by both visiting batsmen. Varun Chopra and Porterfield both produced pleasing straight bats, always crucial when the ball is moving about, as it was doing on occasions here. Lancashire would have been hopeful of bagging a couple of batsmen before the close, but this pair looked in good touch as they rarely missed out on any opportunity to score. Not that it was always plain sailing for them. Both Anderson and Chappell had the batsmen fishing at times, and on many other days they would have found the edge. Warwickshire would have been thrilled that they didn't manage that on this occasion. A looping in-swinger from Anderson was as close as Lancashire came to breaking through. It was that kind of mini-session, really. By the end of it, Chopra had made 29 and Porterfield 30, and they carried the total to 63 without loss, and that means that their side has the edge at this early stage. They will begin the second day 184 runs behind, and with bags of batting to come.